Hello and welcome to the Thursday night GT3 Championship from Race Department on Project Cars. We are expecting rain here in Zuhai for this sprint race, and some people have decided to start on different tyres too, so this could really shake up the results. Ben took his first pole position of the season but was starting on the intermediate tyres. He was ahead of an impressive Lance. Liam qualified alongside Matt on the second row. Frank decided to start on wets in 5th. Jeremy was 6th, ahead of Indrek, Andrew, Gaz and Dom. Benji was the only other driver to start on a different tyre, on wets, and Adam filled out the grid. There was an interesting situation at the start, as the second row drivers of Liam and Matt appeared to get a lot better start than everyone else, and this ultimately gave him the lead, as Ben ran straight on at turn 1 on his intermediate tyres. A replay from onboard Andrew now at the start, who started 8th, and this is undoubtedly the best start you'll see this season. So he goes to the inside, goes past Lance, who started on the front row, so poor start from him, but down the inside and out of turn 1 into 3rd already, gaining 5 places from the start. Back at the front, and Matt was made to hang it around the outside at turn 2, allowing Andrew to draw alongside, having to go round the outside at the chicane, but he made it stick and up to P2 already. Having suffered an unfortunate incident in the feature race, Dom knew he had the pace to challenge for the win and knew he couldn't let Andrew get too far ahead, and subsequently dispatched of Jeremy with relevant ease as he moved himself up into P5. Ben appeared to be struggling on his intermediate tyres. Maybe it was the wrong choice for him. Jeremy wanted to show he could mix it with the big boys and dive down the inside of Dom into the turn 9 hairpin. Appeared to making it stick until contact on the exit forced them both off into the gravel. Both managed to rejoin, but unfortunately for Jeremy, he dropped down to P8. Frank had a massive moment on the exit of turn 8 as he span into Gaz and then Benji before hitting the grass and spinning back onto the track, dropping him down to the back of the field. Replay on board Benji. Frank gambling on the wet tyres but not paying dividends as it was still a dry track. His only hope was the rain was coming soon. Unfortunately for Benji, the contact meant that he had to pit. Having been shuffled back down the pack only moments earlier, Jeremy still felt he could get something from this, as he went down the inside on Adam at turn 1, but missed his braking point slightly and tapped into the rear of Dom, spinning himself round. Game over. Ben was struggling on his intermediate tyres and ran wide at the chicane, allowing Dom to pull alongside. Being on the correct tyre for the current weather conditions, Dom made a relatively easy pass. With Adam and Gaz in tow, it was surely only a matter of time before they got through too. And sure enough, Adam did just that under braking into turn 1. And with almost an identical move to Dom's a lap earlier, Gaz slipped by too. Just ahead of that battle, Matt was heavily defending from Dom into the hairpin. As he went defensive, Dom gave him a little bump, and that was enough to allow him past. At the front, and Andrew was all over the back of Liam. Didn't want a repeat of this feature race incident at the same corner, and this time managed to get down the inside into the chicane. But Liam held strong around the outside and kept the position as the two ran side by side all the way to the hairpin. Liam had the inside and defended, Andrew went round the outside looking for a switchback and a better exit, and that's exactly what he got, as he outdragged the Spam Fritters Racing number 2 driver into the turn 7 left-hander. After spinning out of contention of a good points haul, Jeremy was determined to salvage what he could. Once he caught Ben, who was on intermediate tyres, it was pretty easy pickings for him as he moved himself up to 9th. Liam was pushing hard to take the fight to Andrew for the lead, but on the exit of hairpin he pushed a bit too hard, spinning off the track and allowing Lance to close the gap. Unfortunately for the American, he wasn't quite close enough, and the fight went on. Frank and Indrek were fighting for the final points, but on the exit of turn 1, Indrek heavily collided with Frank. Fortunately, both drivers were able to continue. The heavens opened suddenly, and Lance was the first to pit from P3. Adam and Gaz were among those to stay out, but despite the O&M driver running wide at turn 1, Gazza was still unable to get past him. Benji made his second pit stop of the race. Adam and Gaz pitted at the same time, but Adam spun on the pit entry, ploughing into the wall, allowing Gaz's easiest overtake yet. Andrew was insistent to stay out on the slicks, even after this mistake. As the rain became increasingly heavy, Dom was probably starting to regret his decision to stay out on slicks, as he made a mistake. After mistake, as he dropped all the way down to 9th place. Ben was loving the fact that he started on inters now, so he made his way all the way up to 2nd. The battle for the final spot on the podium was back on, but Lance, being on the wet tyre now, made it easy pickings of Liam. Andrew drove a great race to take both wins here in Zuhai in commanding fashion, well ahead of Ben and Lance, whose tactical decisions both paid off. Liam was 4th ahead of his teammate Gaz and Adam. Jeremy got a decent haul of points in the end in 7th, ahead of a recovering Benji in 8th. Dom decided to reverse over the line in 9th, whilst Frank picked up the final point in 10th. Andrew closed the gap well on Gaz at the top of the standings after becoming the first driver in the championship history to win both the feature and the sprint race. Ben and Benji are now tied for 3rd on 111 points, ahead of Liam in 5th. Adam is just outside the top 5, whilst Dom has now jumped Domari for 7th. After a strong podium for Lance, he's closed the gap on Matt in 9th. Jeremy is 11th, and Frank added a point to his total in 12th. No change in the constructors' standings, as Spam Fritters are still out ahead of Infinite Racing, who had a good weekend though. O&M are in 3rd on 168 points. Max Power Racing and Team America are the closest in terms of points. Wacky Racing are in 6th on 78, while Flash Racing and Dual Racing are 7th and 8th. After Andrew became the first driver in the history of the championship to win both the feature and the sprint race at the same track. Is this the start of a meaningful title challenge? Only time will tell.